Welcome to another episode of Ask Cindy Connector Live. Happy Pay It Forward Friday and happy Aloha Friday. Happy Aloha Friday. Happy Pay It Forward Friday. In just 1 minute, I will introduce you to my guests. So really quickly, make sure that you follow me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram over at Ask Cindy Connector Live. And if you go to YouTube at Ask Cindy Connector Live, you subscribe and comment on today's broadcast, I'll gift you a 3-night hotel stay. If you subscribe, comment, and share this very video onto Facebook, I'll gift you a 5-night hotel stay. And basically, I cover the hotel and you cover the tax. So a little bit about the show. Ask Cindy Connector Live is a way for me to connect you to my sphere of influence and a little bit about my business. I'm a client retention specialist, podcast mastery coach, and I have business tools for you to grow in your business. And today, National Day Calendar, Lobster Newberg Day. If you like to win this calendar, simply just type in calendar here on the broadcast and you'll enter to win all these amazing days. Life is short. Celebrate every single day. So today I have my friend Joel Saxe, and we have some great topics today, talking all about healthy water. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cindy. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to share some of my wisdom with your listeners and viewers today.
That is so awesome. So first off, tell your backstory, where you're from, and kind of what you've done before what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. So I was a massage therapist. Actually, before that, I was a pastry chef.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Both of us were in culinary. That's awesome.
I have a degree in fine pastry. And what I loved about baking is that it allowed me to work with my hands and be creative. But what I really found was I didn't really like the idea of providing white sugar and white flour to people. And this was in the 1980s when there really wasn't a lot of healthy alternatives to baking. So I thought to myself, what could I do that would allow me to be creative, work with my hands, and help people, right? So I became a massage therapist. And as a massage therapist, we're always talking about the importance of drinking water. And I did a lot of research. This was probably in the late 80s, and realized, you know what? The quality of water, even back then, was not very good, and there had to be a better way. So that's what's led me to this journey that I'm on right now, and love sharing it with people.
So really quick announcement. If you are here on Facebook, in order for us to see your name, you'll have to go to facebook.com/StreamYard. So both of the platforms marry, and then you come back here to this broadcast and post your comments. So what led you to what you're doing now? Can you kind of go a little bit more into it?
Well, as a massage therapist, in massage school, we're always taught to have our clients drink a lot of water after massage. We do a good massage and we break up the adhesions and everything, which is important, but it's also necessary to flush them out with a good glass or two of water afterwards. So, that was right in my wheelhouse. And again, I was very passionate about helping people. One of my values is authentic communicating allows us to be real and empowered. And another one, educating and sharing healthy alternatives impacts all of our lives. So this really, really fit right into that, if you will. Well, first of all, there are over 15,000, literally 15,000 different water filters on the market. So it's extremely confusing what to look for, the different technologies, etc. One of the things that I believe is really important is to know the different technologies. You have, for example, granular activated carbon. That's the most basic. That's designed to remove color, taste, and odor. It does make the water taste and smell better, but that's really about it. Most of your refrigerator units out there are, granular activated carbon. Then you have reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis was developed by the U.S. Navy, and it's designed to make ocean water drinkable. So basically what it does is it removes all the minerals from the water, and it's not necessarily a healthy choice because you want to have the minerals in your water. And it's also not very good for the environment because for every gallon of good water, you typically have 3 to 6 gallons of wasted water.
Wow.
So not good, especially when we have these water shortages. Another common method is ultraviolet. That's designed to kill bacteria and viruses. But the problem with that, first of all, it uses a lot of electricity, but even more than that, if you have water with a lot of particles in it, the bacteria and viruses are smart. They're going to hide behind the particles, and the ultraviolet will end up being very ineffective because it can't reach them because they're hiding, So they're wise critters, if you will. Another one is common is a gravity feed, where you pour the water in a pitcher in the top, and then the water will just flow down over time and filter water. Some of those.
That's me.
That's what you have. Okay. Yeah. Those typically you don't have the right amount of contact time with the carbon. The filter that I use and have since 1989 uses solid carbon block. In fact, the company I work with, Multi-Pure Drinking Water Systems, Cindy, invented this technology back in the 70s. It's still considered to be the state-of-the-art technology today. Why is it so effective? That's because you take the carbon, Multi-Pure has taken the carbon, compressed it into a solid block so that the water is forced to go through the carbon down to the molecular level. So there's a lot more contact time with the carbon. And because the water goes through the carbon, there's no way bacteria can grow. Unlike granular activated carbon, that can be a breeding ground for bacteria because there's a lot of oxygen in there that can grow. With the carbon block, it's too tightly compacted, oxygen can't grow, and it does a much better job of filtering, like I said, down to the molecular level, removing a wide variety of contaminants.
Yeah, I actually have a brown paper bag over my Brita because it's right by the window, so it can get a lot of that bacteria. So yeah,
what I would like to talk about is the importance of an organization called NSF International.
Very familiar.
Okay, excellent. So let me give you a little bit of history. So when I first started back in the late 80s in this industry, a lot of companies were emerging and claiming, yeah, my filter removed this, it'll take care of that. It's on the box, believe me, right? The EPA got wind of this and they were very concerned. So they partnered with NSF International in 1991 to set standards and protocols for the drinking water industry. So that means that if a company claims, for example, that they remove lead, they have NSF certification, and then the consumer will know that that's the case. Now, what I love about the state of California is great, okay? California has a law that basically says if you sell a water filter in our state, for every single contaminant you claim you will remove, you have to be certified by the state for that particular contaminant, for the particular filter. So the consumer knows that if it has that California certification, you bet your bottom dollar it will take out that contaminant and the consumer can believe it. If it's on a box somewhere or in literature, and that's where the claims are, I wouldn't necessarily believe them unless they have the NSF certification. Let me address some of the contaminants that people probably should be concerned about. I think that's an important key point here, if I may.
Exactly, yes.
So one of the, probably the first one is something called, that the EPA is now addressing as forever contaminants. Now, forever contaminants are things like polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFOAs and PFOS. These are typically fire retardants that are found on either Teflon pans or babies' clothing.
Yep.
So that, like, babies' clothing has fire retardant in it for obvious reasons, but that gets into our water supplies when the clothes are being washed. So they are called literally forever contaminants because they will be in the water pretty much forever. Very, very difficult to remove. So look for a filter, like one of the multi-pure filters, has a PFOS certification by NSF. Lead is another one. We all know about lead and the dangers of lead and what it does to brain development, particularly in children. That's very common. Disinfection byproducts, Cindy, is something else you need to be aware of. Let me tell you a little bit about that. So the municipalities do a great job, believe me, and they do the best job they can to protect us from and give us the best, safest water they can. But quite frankly, less than 1% of all the water that the municipalities have to give is, or provide us, I should say, less than 1% is for drinking and cooking. The rest is for washing our clothes and dishes and flushing the toilets and things like that. Mm-hmm. So the water that they give is typically pH balanced. Okay, that's very good. But also they have to disinfect the water. So they either use chlorine or chloramine. Now, chloramine is basically chlorine and ammonia.
Wow, I did not know about that. Wow.
Okay. So why do they use ammonia as well? Okay, two reasons. Talking about these disinfection byproducts. When chlorine interacts with organic matter like twigs and algae and things like that are in the pipes, it creates these carcinogenic compounds. Mm-hmm. And by adding ammonia, they can add less chlorine to the water, hence the disinfection byproduct levels are lower. Okay, so because they're not having to add as much chlorine. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is, if you remember from high school chemistry, you mix chlorine and ammonia, it creates a very dangerous gas, mm-hmm. Right? So we still don't know necessarily the long-term implications of chloramine, but in my opinion, it probably isn't very good based on the reaction of chlorine and ammonia connecting with each other, mixing together and that off-gassing. The other reason they do that is in the outlying areas, the chlorine, when you add ammonia to the chlorine, it keeps the chlorine active longer so that people in the outlying areas will be protected, so that the chlorine won't evaporate by the time it reaches them. Plastics are starting to show up in our water.
Yes.
Right? From all the bottled water. Mm-hmm. So microplastics, very, very common now. That was not an issue 10, 15 years ago, but now it's a huge issue. And, having a product that like a multi-pure that can help in that arena as well is, and that issue is very, very important.
Well, let's do a recap of today's show. We just have a few minutes left. Yep. So tell my audience what we talked about and why multi-pure.
Okay. So in recapping, I would say that, there are a broad amount of contaminants that are potentially possible in the water. The EPA tests for about 90 contaminants, yet they found over 2,000 contaminants in our nation's water. So who knows what's in our water? But, if you're on a well or if you're on city water, it's really important to make sure that you get your water, what you're dealing with. If you're on city water, I encourage you to go to your local city and get a copy of the report. It's free. It's a matter of public record. See exactly what you're dealing with. And then with having a multi-pure is not only great for for drinking and cooking, but think about your pets. I wash my fruits and vegetables with it. I use it for, my ice. Pretty much everything I use in my kitchen, it goes below the sink for homeowners or on top of the sink for people who rent. But I use it, for everything that I use in my kitchen except for washing my dishes. So it's a great appliance. The company's 50 years old. I've been with the company since 1989, and
Wow.
I love this product.
So let's talk about call to action. Do you have any specials going on right now?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we do. So if you go to multipure.com, okay, and then you can if you want to place an order, my referral code is 125635. Again, 125635. And if you get a unit right now, before the end of the month, you get an extra replacement filter. And by the way, the replacement filters will last you a year. You just replace it for $90 once a year. You'll get an extra replacement filter, a $90 value. Our best-selling unit is a one-time investment of just $500. And it comes, of course, with a replacement cartridge. If you want to, if you wait until after March 31st, then the promotion is a free shower filter, which is also very helpful because, chlorine gets absorbed in your skin when you take showers, and your skin will feel softer and, much better. So those are our promotions right now, Cindy. And if anyone wants to call me personally, I'd be happy to talk to you. My phone number is 503-313-6977. Again, 503-313-6977. And finally, my email is jesaxe, S-A-X-E, @comcast.net.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to pop you in the green room, and if you hang tight for about a half a minute while I close, and then we'll chat for a few. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Cindy.
Welcome. Well, there you go. What an amazing show today with Joel. And we all need to be healthy. You need to eat healthy. You need to have healthy water in your body. It's so, so important. And make sure to pay it forward every single day. Think of 5 people to show gratitude to. Life is short. Live your life and make the most of that dash. Shaka. We'll see you here on the next show at 5 o'clock. I have my friend Will. He's from SeriouslyStickers.com. So stay tuned at 5 o'clock Pacific time.